so excited to have everybody here, and I know that people are continuing to get on board. I want to let everybody know that we've enabled the chat box, which means over on to your right, there's a little box there where you can be posting questions as we go. If it isn't disruptive, I can stop Ronnie and ask the questions as you post them. But I want to say happy February to everybody. I can't believe it's already February 3rd. And oh my goodness, this year is zooming by already. Before we get to the real reason we're all here, which is to have the opportunity to hear Ronnie Noize and how to introduce yourself like a networking rock star, there are a couple announcements I'd like to make. Right now, I announced last week, and I did hear from some of you, I announced last week that we were starting some groups in the Denver area, in the Centennial area, DTC area, and so anybody in Colorado is pretty familiar with those, and they're doing really, really well. They're coming along. We're going to be starting some up in the northern part of Colorado in I think it's called Broomfield. So please, if you are interested in attending a meeting, seeing what I Take the Lead is about, and you're in the Denver area, please contact me and I can get you the information. There's one person per profession in each of our groups. So if you're a realtor or a lender or even a web person, you want to be the first one that ends up joining. Also, I want to let you know we've had several people from the Arizona area, from Mesa, Phoenix, Tucson, on these webinars, and we are starting a brand new group next Wednesday. It's Wednesday the 11th, 12 o'clock Arizona time, at noon, from noon to 1. It will be in Mesa, and I will personally be there. So I really hope that you contact me. You get my email when you get the replay of these webinars, as well as when you register for them. It's my webinar. It's my email that you get. So it's Becky@ITakeTheLead.com. Please introduce yourself. If you can make it, it's out on the Arizona meetup, and that's how you receive the information about these webinars in the first place for the Arizona people. So I'm just very excited to have all this coming. And so at this point, I want to introduce Ronnie Noize. She's absolutely amazing. Some of you have already had the opportunity to hear her, and she's the marketing coach. She doesn't do your marketing for you. She works with people to help them do their own marketing. So she founded the DIY Marketing Center. And if you are interested, there will be one coming to you soon in the near future. I'm sure of it, depending on where you're at. But she's just an amazing woman. She's a very, very good friend of mine. She's really helped us with I Take the Lead, with our franchising model and the whole bit. And some of you aren't aware of this, but she was voted one of the top 100 most powerful women here in the Portland area, and that was huge. She's right up there with some very, very powerful women. So I am so excited to have her here this morning, or this afternoon, and talking to us. So Ronnie, I'll let you introduce yourself and take it from there. So thanks, Ronnie, and then I'll be asking you some questions about what you're going to be talking about today.
Becky, thank you so much. It's great to be here, and I'm really excited about this. We had a lot of fun at our last webinar, did we not? Oh gosh, Becky, it looks like you're on mute. Okay, so as Becky mentioned, I'm the founder of the DIY Marketing Center. I'm a marketing coach. What that means is I help people do their marketing better, and the reason for that is so my clients can attract more of the clients that they want to have most. And as a matter of fact, I do a lot of work with entrepreneurs, teaching them how to network. And let me see, Becky, do you think we could do a little bit of I'm going to do a screen share here.
Sure.
Okay, great. There we go. Alrighty, so I just wanted to show you, so is my website up here, Becky?
Yes. Oh,
Okay,
perfect. Yes.
great. So this is a networking for newbies workshop that I do, and I do them in Portland and Vancouver, and I've been doing them now. This is actually our 60th month of doing this training, and we have trained literally thousands of people to be better networkers. Um, I also do how to be a networking rock star, and that's the thing that we're going to be talking about today. And the reason for that there are two, is there's a ton of information to learn about how to be an absolute rock star networker. And the thing that I think that makes people rock stars is that they introduce themselves extremely well. So before I tell you how to do that, because I plan to share that, I would like to talk a little bit about what mistakes I see. And Becky, I'm sure you've seen these mistakes as well, because you've been to far more networking meetings than anybody on the planet, and so you and you have absolutely seen it all. But and actually, I want to point out something before we go very further. As you can see on the page, this is my website, DIYmarketingcenter.com, and we're on the Networking Rockstar section, which is a subpage of public events. And the reason I point this out to everybody is that there are some free tools that you can download that will be very helpful to you. There's the elevator speech tool, the networking introduction formula, and a little notes worksheet. You probably can't take these off of the webinar, but you can definitely find them and have them, because we're going to be talking about them later today. So first, though, let's talk about a few of the mistakes that people make in terms of networking. Golly. So the first thing I think is terrible is that they use what I call the assumptive you. And so they go into the hardcore sales model. And what that means is they are really pushing. For sale, they say, I help you do such and such. And the problem with this is it's a prescription without diagnosis, and it's presumptive. And what happens when somebody comes at you? Well, naturally, you want to step back. And when you stand up and you tell people that you're going to make them, smarter, thinner, taller, richer, blonder, get them in the ground floor, and what you have is perfect for them, and especially if you don't know them personally, then you have just put everybody on notice that you are there to sell, sell, sell. And that's really a problem, because as you know, networking is not selling, is it?
Oh, absolutely. I totally
As a matter of,
right.
yeah, exactly, Becky. And so I say networking is about connecting to serve, share, and support. But a lot of people think, so networking means I'm just going to sell, sell, sell. And the problem is networking can help you get to the point of sales, but networking is not cold calling. And the problem with introducing yourself and going into a hardcore sales pitch is that this very aggressive sales stance causes people to not only think poorly of you, causes them to retreat, causes them to create a negative reaction. And it also creates a bad neural network connection inside. And what this means is, in somebody's brain, they say, ooh. And so if you are trying to do a hard sell in a networking situation, people are going to create this neural pathway in their brain that's going to connect you with the whole feeling and concept of ooh and yuck. And so, which is absolutely not what you want to do. And so this is why you don't want to use that assumptive you. Now, Becky, are you still there?
Yeah, I am.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, right.
All righty. So I was just trying to, I'm a little bit confused about what we're actually looking at on the screen.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
So
well, your website's back now. Yeah.
Okay, good. Did you have my postcard up a minute ago?
No.
Oh, dear me. Okay. Yeah. All right. So sorry about that. So I'm just trying to figure.
It was just black, so I was kind of looking to see.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out. I'm not doing as good a job as I wanted to do here. Okay, so let me see if I can try this. So is my postcard on now?
No, the
Networking
website is.
definition? Yeah,
Yeah.
darn.
Sorry. Yeah.
Alrighty. Sorry about that. All right, so I'm kind of leaving the website here for a minute. Let me move on, though, to another networking
Well,
mistake. Yes?
well, while you have it up, though, I wanted
Uh,
to ask you because I know you're doing you have the monthly networking for newbies here in the Portland,
uh-huh,
Vancouver area, and you have
uh-huh.
one over in Vancouver. But I
I
know
do.
you have the brand new one that's coming up on Friday, this Friday, the 6th, from 1:30 to 3 on the west side of town.
Yes.
I know they fill up fast. Do you have some openings? Because people have been asking me.
Yes, thank you for asking. I do have a
Okay.
few openings left. It's the first time we're doing this in Southwest Portland, and this is in response to all the people from the west side of the Portland area who have been begging us to do a training where they don't have to drive an hour and a half.
Oh,
So,
very nice.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
So it's finally coming. Networking for Newbies comes to Portland for the first time on Friday the 6th, and it's a convenient afternoon, so it's right after your last networking meeting, your lunch meeting on Friday.
Okay, thank you. Perfect.
Great. Thank you, Becky. And I'm going to see you there, won't I?
I think so. I do think so. I was
Good.
gonna, I was gonna chat with you about that. So yeah.
Okay, good. All right, good. All right, so let's talk about a couple of more uh, networking introduction mistakes, and then I want to get into my little networking tool. And I'll be able to
Okay.
show it to you right here from the website. Okay, so one of the another mistake people introduce themselves is they're too general. And so they don't talk about an outcome and they don't talk about their prospect. And what they do is they say, I want to help everybody enjoy more peace of mind. And what is that really about? And peace of mind was a really important thing, and people wanted that in the 80s, and not that we don't want it now, but the truth is we've got so much stuff coming at us at this point that we want to know exactly why it's worth us spending our time and effort talking to someone. And so we need to know very specifically who they work with and what people get. And so that real general object and subject is very off-putting. The other thing that makes people introduce themselves not like a rock star is that sometimes their physical presentation contradicts the message. So what that means is they might slump or they might use really bad gestures. And one of the things that I see a lot, Becky, I don't know if you've seen this, is I've seen people slap their thighs and kind of their hands go out to the side and they sort of slap their thighs and they say, well, yeah. And then they're slapping their thighs, and what they're doing is they're saying, "Don't pay attention to me, dismiss my message." And the problem with that is that people who see that are going to feel like, or are going to feel a complete lack of confidence in you. So you want to watch your gestures. You want to stand up. To be a rock star, you're going to stand tall, throw your shoulders back, suck your gut in, make direct eye contact, and use eye contact. And use gestures. And here's the important thing. Rock stars think about their thumbs. And so what I want you to think about with your thumbs, are your thumbs above your belt? And so what that means is if you're going to be gesturing with your hands, which is a great thing because it gives people something to look at, unlike today when we're just having to stare at a website. Sorry about that. So when you're gesturing with your hands, keep your thumbs as close to your face or above your chin if you possibly can. So when you're gesturing with your hands, you want to bring your hands up. And that draws people's attention to you and to what you're saying. The other thing, the way you want to introduce yourself like a rock star, is you want to watch your tone, your volume, and your word choice. And you also don't want to end your introduction on a high note, because then you sound like a teenage girl who asks everything like a question and she talks like this, and you know what I mean? And because sometimes when people are introducing themselves, I'm wondering, do they have any idea that they're asking me when they say they do stuff? They say, so I'm a massage therapist and I like people. I'm like, oh man, stop that. You laugh, Becky, but you know it's true.
I know.
We see it a lot. Okay. There are a couple of other little mistakes we can make with tone, volume, and word choice. Is we can have too many filler words, such as like, That drives people crazy. And we can also mumble. So we can be, so we can speak either so quietly that people can barely hear us. So speak so quietly that people can barely hear us, or that we can just speak very indistinctly and unclearly. And all of these things convey a feeling of lack of confidence, not only in yourself, but in the products and services you offer. And usually it's not a matter of not being confident in who we are and what we do. It's a matter that we're nervous. So the number one way to act like a rock star when you introduce yourself is to practice. Practice, 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 so that you absolutely own what you're going to say and how you're going to say it. So with that as a little bit of an introduction, I am going to scroll down and we're going to look at the networking introduction formula. So is this now visible?
Yes, it is.
Good, good. I want everyone to see this. Okie doke. So the networking introduction formula has 5 simple steps. 5 steps. It's going to start with your elevator speech. And this is going to be a surprise for most of you, because most of you want to start by standing up and say, hi, my name is Sally, blah, blah, blah. And what I want you to do is something different, because the deal is the people that you're introducing yourself to are in a heightened state of anxiety. These people are thinking about having to introduce themselves. They're thinking about being in a room full of strangers. Either that or they're completely bored. They have been at this meeting every week for the past 5 years. They know everybody, and they think they know everything. So it's up to you to grab your attention, because you want people to actually hear what you say. So what you want to do is you want to talk about people, and that is your elevator speech. You want to talk about them. The next thing you want to do, the step 2 here, is you're going to state your name. So once you've got their attention, then you can tell them who you are. And you're going to have your name and your functional title. Now, as I've mentioned here, you can see in the little formula, don't worry about the name of your business, because it's going to be on your business card. And the more information that you give people, the less they're going to hear. Now, here's something that's very important to remember. As you're introducing yourself in a networking situation, most people are not paying very much attention. Most people are not going to hear everything you say. So make sure that what you do say is absolutely pertinent, so that they know how to refer business to you, or that they can possibly even recognize themselves. So you want to, when you say your name, and also the other reason, the third reason that you say it second, is because most of us have said our name so frequently that we slur it or mumble it. And sometimes we even forget it. So when we have this little self-introduction formula, there's a place for us to say our names, and then there's a place for us to say our functional title. A couple of words about functional title. What that means is what you do in your business. You don't want to tell people like, I'm the business owner, because that's not important information. What I like is a functional title that gives people a sense of what you do. Becky earlier mentioned that I'm the founder and as well as managing director of the DIY Marketing Center, but that's not important. When I introduce myself, what's important is that people know my functional title, which is the marketing coach. So and that gives people at least a hint about the type of things that I do. Okay, so that's step 1, elevator speech. Step 2, name and functional title. Step 3, you identify a good referral for you. I prefer the word referral because often a lead means somebody who is already prepared and waiting for my call.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah, and it's okay. You could say referral or lead. I just I like to do this. It gives the linguistic precision, I think, is very important, but maybe not everybody believes it. But anyway, so you want to identify who's a good referral for you, and also how if you're going to identify by category, you might give. I mean, in general category, you might want to give something more specific. Now, let's talk about categorical identification. Business owner is a category. Someone who owns a business is not. And every time you use the word someone or the word anyone in your introduction, you cause people's brains to go on an unfruitful mental Google search, and you lose them. So you want to be absolutely as specific and clear as possible. Now, the good news about this is that you're going to be able to have a lot of information, and people will actually be listening to you when you present it using this format. And so you get to have fresh, new information every week, especially if you're going to the same group. It's really powerful. Okay, so you want to identify who the good referral is. And then step 4, you want to explain how to recognize when to refer. So you're teaching these people to recognize a referral and to refer them to you. Because the truth is that people who are thinking about working with a marketing coach do not walk around with a sign that says, I'm thinking of working with a marketing coach. They're usually saying something else. And that's true no matter what business you're in. The people that you will run into are probably not saying, hey, do you know a good dentist? Do you know a good dentist? Do you know a good dentist? What they might be doing is complaining about their dentist or complaining about a toothache or something. And if you're a dentist who wants referrals, then you're going to talk about that in how to refer and how to someone should be referring to you.
Right. You know, I want to interject just a little bit, because I notice I go to a lot of meetings, and I'll hear mortgage lenders in particular say, well, if you know anybody who's paying 7% interest rate, send them my way. You know, people just don't go around saying that.
They don't.
Or wearing the sign like you said. So, yeah.
Yeah, so,
Give me something else to work with, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Give me something to work with. All right, and then finally what we want to do is we want to give people a clear and simple command. Actually, it's going to be a command that's embedded directly into your brain about how to refer. And so here is how this whole thing might sound. Okay?
Okay.
So when I introduce myself, I say I help small businesses attract more clients. I'm Ronnie Noize, the marketing coach. A good referral for me is a small office, home office business owner, like an independent sales rep, an insurance agent, or financial planner. You'll know it's the right time to refer when you hear them say, I love what I do, but I hate to market, or this economy is killing my business. And when you hear that said, simply introduce us by email, and I'll take it from there. So,
perfect.
Yeah, really clear. And the important thing is, when you think about this stuff so specifically, then you are able to identify the right words to use. And as you'll notice, Becky, when I was just saying this, I didn't actually read it word for word. But since I'm so familiar with this model, I knew what to say, and I'm able to say it fairly, in an off-the-cuff, improvisational way. But I still say only what is necessary for people to know how to refer well to me. Now, what's really important about this is to recognize that this model is organized to deliver the right information as people are interested in it. So before they know who I am, they have to know what I do and if I work with people like them, which is why we start with the killer elevator speech. Then I could mention my name and functional title, but I don't give them too much information at once. Then following that, I guide their attention to who is a good referral to me, and I'm using some elements of neuro-linguistic programming here to insert the idea that referring to me is a good idea. And quite frankly, why else are we going to be networking? When we are networking, we're there to give and receive referrals. We're there to serve, share, and support. And so that's the purpose of this. So I say be extremely clear about what you want so that people can know and they can help you. So I say a good referral for me is, and then I'm very clear about it. Then I tell them very clearly how to recognize the referral, and I literally quote what it is people say who are good prospects for me. I love what I do, but I hate to market, or this economy is killing my business. Now you're going to notice in this section, Becky, that there is a dichotomy between love and hate, and there is also a very aggressive word that says killing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the reason this is not, these are not just random words. So the amygdala, which is the oldest part of our brain, which is the part of our brain that will trigger the fight or flight response, but also the part of your brain that is going to pull stuff into long-term memory, is listening. And when you use things with high contrast, words and phrases with high contrast like love, hate, black, white, hot, cold, things like that, your amygdala is tickled. And I call these amygdala ticklers. And all this means is that people pay a tiny bit more attention to these dichotomous phrases, the love and hate. And the same thing is also triggered by using words like kill. And so these,
Wow.
yeah, I know. So very aggressive words that have to do with health and safety. So killing, but I think killing is reasonable to say, because the sad truth is, Becky, you know as well as I do, that way too many businesses are killed.
Oh,
uh,
absolutely.
you know, and
Absolutely.
and they're killed by, the main reason most small businesses die an ignominious death is the fact that their owners don't do proper marketing. But sometimes there are other economic forces, such as the economy or other things, that can drive a business into the ground. But that's a very common concept, that killing a business, and so we're aware of that, but that also tickles the amygdala because it is a life and death type of concept.
I get that.
Mm.
Now, is there a way, because you and I both know somebody that just loves to use positive language. Is there a way, like instead of saying the economy is killing my business, is there a way to get the same effect, only use a more positive term than killing my business? I'm just curious.
Yes. Okay.
What your opinion is on that?
Well, for me, this works.
Right, it
And
does.
it's yes, and it's because it's got the the love and hate, and it's also got the killing the business, which are common things. But sometimes people say to me, they say, "But I just don't like to have." See, I'm pretending like I got a whiny voice when I say it. I'll stop that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They'll say, "I don't want to use negativity. I don't want to use negativity in my presentation." And the deal is that most of us are going to spend our resources, time, energy, money, effort, into solving problems far sooner than we are going to pursue some sort of far off, happy place. Even
Oh
though
boy,
people,
yeah.
yeah, people want to be happy, we are going to, if you have a choice, um, your first response is going to be to withdraw from pain. You're not going to say to yourself, gosh, my hand is leaning on this hot stove, and I'm also thinking I would like to have a milkshake. Which should I do first? You're going to pull your hand off that stove in a second, because we are hardwired to recoil and back away from pain. And what that means
Absolutely.
is, when we think of things that we want to deal with, we're thinking in terms of mainly either problems or projects. And so if what your market is dealing with is a problem, then you want to use this sort of language. If what they're dealing with is a project, then you want to deal with language. It doesn't have to be about killing, but it can be that needs to reflect the feeling they're going to get with a successful project. For example, um, You know it's the right time to refer. So let's say that, well, actually, I had a couple of examples and I just fell out of my brain. It's a really
Uh-oh.
good question. But really, most people are thinking about the problems that they want to solve and how they can talk about, and when they're talking about them, they're generally complaining. Now, every once in a while, someone is celebrating. They're saying, "I'm so excited, my daughter's getting married." So that would be how to recognize a good referral. So
Oh,
let's say,
okay,
let's
okay,
say
yeah.
you make a wedding dress. You can, you know it's the right time to refer when you hear the mother of the bride say, "We're so excited, our daughter is getting married." So something along those lines. However, you're going to have a lot more luck if you can attach some sort of feeling or emotion or at least some sort of brain response to that. And this is why, anyway, this is why I suggest these types of quotes here. Because I'm not sure if I answered the question well enough,
Oh,
Becky.
you did. No, no, you did perfect. It yeah, because you're no matter what, we're in business to solve problems.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because even if you're because I happened to be at a presentation yesterday where they were talking about travel, and I told them I likened it to a layaway program because you can put money aside and all that. But even then, it's a fun business, but they're still solving a problem because their biggest target market is people who think they can't afford to go on vacation. So they're targeting those people. Well, the problem that they're taking care of is the fact that these people think that they don't have the money for this or whatever. So I no, I totally understand.
Yeah. Exactly. And really, we need to meet people even when we're talking on an energetic plane. I mean, a lot of people are very spiritually aware these days, and we talk a lot about states of energy and energetic things. And isn't there a lot of bad energy around negative words? And the deal is that like attracts like. And so if we want to connect with people, we need to provide the sort of verbiage that they use to describe their situation, and frequently it is framed as a problem.
Right.
And so this is the thing that they want to solve. So, for example, if your pipes are broken in your house and you're looking for a plumber, then you're going to be Googling plumber, Vancouver, Washington, Portland, Oregon, whatever, and you might even say pipes burst because maybe there's somebody who can deal with that particular problem.
Right, right, right. No,
So
that
that's
makes total sense. Absolutely.
all right. So now let's move on to the fifth piece, the fifth step in the killer self introduction here, the rock star self introduction, is you wrap it all up and you give a direct command into the brain. When you hear that, you'll know, and you're telling people this is a very subtle yet powerful command to the brain. When you hear that, you'll know it's time to introduce us by email, which is how they can refer to you, and let me take it from there. One of the problems we have is we don't always know how to introduce people, or we don't know how to refer people. And I'm sure that you've heard it said to you many times, "Gosh, Becky, I've told a million people about you. I can't believe they didn't call."
Oh,
Well,
right, right.
the very best introduction is when you can introduce people by email. You could say, "Becky, I want you to meet Sally. Sally is new to business and wants to join a networking group, and I told her there was no one who knew more about business networking than you. Sally, this is Becky. She's my dear friend, and she is the queen of networking, and I'm sure she's got some great recommendations for you and your business. Ladies, you can take it from here." And that is the perfect introduction email.
Absolutely. And I've been on the receiving end of one of your introduction emails.
Yay! Good. Okay,
Yeah.
so the truth, Becky, though, is so here's an example of this introduction. So how we introduce ourselves, um, and it's not quite rock star yet. It's not quite rock star. Let me be honest with you. This is a great, serviceable, one size fits all introduction. But let's turn it up a notch and make it a rock star introduction.
All right.
So what we're going to do is we're going to add a step before the beginning. And that step is sort of step 0, you might say. And this is a provocative question. And what we want to do is we want to ask everybody a question that that your elevator speech is kind of an answer to in some ways. So not who here is a marketing coach, but my question is who here, so I'm talking to the people in this room right now, they get it, I'm looking around the room, I make an eye contact, I say who here is accepting or wants more clients? Then I raise my hand. I show them what I want them to do. And what I have done is I've gotten their attention by asking them who here wants something, which is a good thing, more clients. And then I give them a way to respond, and I show them by raising my hand. And you would be surprised at how many people actually raise their hand like they're going to win something and say, I do. But at least what's happening here is I'm getting people's attention and they're physically involved. So instead of people texting or chatting amongst themselves or doodling or doing whatever they were doing before I stood up to introduce myself, I've asked them a question that has captured their attention and gotten them involved physically, so all of a sudden everybody's staring at me. And everyone's listening when I say, great, because I help small businesses attract more clients.
Oh, very nice. Wow.
And then I've only recently noticed the difference, Becky, and I know this in copywriting. When you give a verbal Scooby snack, so to speak, when people respond in the way you want them to, when you say great, so you're agreeing with them, and then you add the word because, for some reason, adding that, saying great, and then because, right before my elevator speech, really gets people involved and attached in a way that I was really surprised to notice. Yeah, so anyway, so this is like the new rock star way to introduce yourself. So who here wants more clients? We've got a show of hands, and we don't say raise your hand, we just raise our hands to show them what we want them to do. Then we say great, because I help small businesses attract more clients. And then the people who are sitting around have this response. It's like, yay. It's just, it's really pretty funny. So there's yay, and then it's time to introduce myself. So now that they're listening, I tell them who I am and what I do. I'm Ronnie Noize, the marketing coach. And a good referral for me is a small office, home office business owner, like a sales rep or a financial planner. And the nice thing about this is I can change the examples depending on where I am. So let's say I'm at a group of mortgage brokers. So I can say a good referral for me is a small office, home office business owner, like a realtor or a mortgage broker. So I give a couple in their world. So they say, wow, that's me. She's talking about me. And then, so I've totally got their attention. So it's like, again, it's like being a rock star. Everybody's staring and excited and wanting to hear more about themselves. Then I can say, you'll know it's time to refer when you hear them say, I love what I do, but I hate to market, or this economy is killing my business. And at this point, I generally see people looking at each other and nodding. Yes, I have said that. I love what I do, but I hate to market, or this economy is killing my business. And then I say, when you hear that, simply introduce us by email, and I'll take it from there. Like, okay, so now they know what to do. They've heard the who and the why and the when and the how. They've got all that. And then, because I'm a complete rock star, I'm going to end this by repeating my name and my functional title. I'll say, I'm Ronnie Noize, the marketing coach. And I got to tell you, Becky, when I introduce myself like that, people not only listen, but they refer and they want to talk to me afterwards. And so that I've added those two rock star elements, that provocative question with the hand raise at the beginning and the repetition of my name and functional title at the end. And so really what that does is it expands these 5 steps up to 7, but it's still quick and clear and absolutely to the point.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I love it. I love it. Um, do you have a time for a question here?
I do have time.
To repeat. Well, Pamela says I don't think she understood that you were when you were talking about doing the introductions. It's via email. So do you want to explain that again? When you've sent me referrals, how exactly is it that you do that?
Sure. So what I do is, so if I'm referring Pamela to Becky, then I will send both Pamela and Becky the same email. And it says an introduction from Ronnie Noize as the subject line. And it says, Dear Pamela and Becky, I'm writing to introduce the two of you. Becky, I recently met Pamela at a networking event, and she asked me or had some questions about networking, and I told her that you were the #1 resource for networking that I knew. Pamela, this is my friend Becky. She is the networking queen, and if she doesn't, and I'm sure she'll be able to help. She'll be able to answer all your questions about which is the right networking group for you. Here's your. Then I generally add both people's contact information, their name, their email, and their phone numbers. And then I say, ladies, I trust you to take it from here.
Absolutely. So Pamela, I assume that answered your question. She said, how do you do a three-way introduction? So if there were a third person, you would just do the same. You would just include them in the email. Let's say, if it's two business partners, you're introducing the two business partners to me, for instance.
Exactly.
Or something like that.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
I hope that answered your question. And just so you know, as Ronnie starts to wrap this up, we welcome questions. We have Ronnie's full attention right now. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and fill them out like you've seen on the side there, and then we'll see if we can get some answers from Ronnie. Oh, Pamela said thank you. Yes.
You're welcome, Pamela.
Yeah. So yeah, she got it. She said thank you.
Good.
Yes, she got it. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit, Becky, if we can, about this. So what really makes that introduction so attractive and such a rock star sort of thing? And I'd like to kind of run over those elements while we're waiting for other questions. So #1 is that you call other people by name. So in your elevator speech, you talk about who you work with by category. I say small business owners or small businesses. And then #2, we use the exact words. We actually quote the exact words used by our prospects. When you'll know it's time to refer when you hear them say. And I give 2 examples. I love what I do, but I hate to market. Or, this economy is killing my business. I don't start giving them a laundry list of 800 things. I give them 2 things. Well, and the problem is people can only accept so much information at once. I mean, it's sort of like drinking a glass of water. I mean, you can only choke down so much water before you have to stop, take a breath, and then drink it again, no matter how thirsty you are. We can only give people so much information before they choke. And so that's why you want to pull this information into these little chunks. Then the next key is to have crystal clarity and brevity. So really clear about who you work with and when and why. The next key is at the beginning when you're pulling out that full-on rock star networking introduction, use a provocative qualifying or preparing question to set the stage for your personal introduction. Because what that does is it's like setting up the punchline for a joke. And I say, who here wants more clients? Well, great, because I help small businesses attract more clients. It sets up a tension and then relieves that tension by giving by supplying that information. I've asked a question, and so that's great. Who here has this problem? Great, because I can help. And then finally, the one thing that rock stars do that a lot of other people don't is that they are at once both confident yet approachable. So that means that we are standing tall, we are looking people in the eye, we're smiling, and we're feeling very comfortable right where we are. That comfort comes from knowing exactly what you're going to say and how you're going to say it. And so you don't have to stand up there and recite your introduction. You want to own it so it comes out casually, comfortably, yet extremely clearly, so that you make your point each and every time you introduce yourself.
Well,
So
very nice.
thank you, Becky. Do we have any other questions?
Let's see. Oh, more of us want to know. Yeah, everybody, you've registered. You've already pre-registered, and that's how you're on here. And everyone later on this evening does receive a recording of this today, so you can go back and take notes and work on this yourself. I wanted to point out that Mike came up with one. He says, "Who here knows anyone with less than perfect credit?" Great, that's what I do. I help people fix their credit. So after you did that, that's what he came up with.
Oh, that is fantastic. But may I offer a recommendation?
Yes.
So, great, because I help people fix less than perfect credit. Instead of great, that's what I do. So go directly into the action so that there isn't any lag time. Yeah. See, it's very, very subtle, but any words you can possibly leave out, you want to leave out.
Right, right. Yeah, because when you did your whole introduction, it was far less than the 1 minute that we provide at our I Take a Lead meetings. It was
Yes.
maybe 40 seconds with everything.
Yeah. So it can we want it to be extremely short, and then at the end, if we like, we can add more. But we want to make sure that everybody first gets all of the information we want them to have. And the problem with speaking too long or speaking unclearly is that very often we say stuff that isn't important and that isn't necessary. So people are listening to the wrong thing and don't remember what we want them to remember.
Right, right. Oh, that makes total sense. Absolutely. Oh, Pamela said, very helpful little hints. Thank you.
You're welcome, Pamela. And go ahead, Becky.
Oh, I was just going to say, so just as a reminder, they can go to your website, DIY Marketing Center, and pull this information off of that.
Yes, that is absolutely true.
It's under the public events, right?
Yes, yes. DIY Marketing Center, public events, and they can look at either Rockstar Networking or Networking for Newbies.
Okay, very good.
And as a matter of fact, Becky, I would be happy to, let me just put this back up again. Whoops. Let's see if I've got this. There we go. So this is it, as you can see. DIY Marketing Center, Networking for Newbies. And then just scroll down to the very bottom where you will find these tools. There's also my elevator speech tool.
Oh, very nice. Okay, good, good. Stacy Beer asked a question. She wanted to get your opinion on this one, and she's a brand new member out in the Denver area. Hi, Stacy. Who knows of anyone tired of renting? Who knows of someone who'd like to own real estate? She said, what do you think of those?
I think that's pretty good.
Would you ask both or just one or the other?
I would just ask one.
Right.
And the reason is, if you're tired of renting, then that means either you want to stop paying rent altogether, or you want to own your own home.
Oh, that makes total sense. Absolutely.
And one of the problems I think that we have when we introduce ourselves is that we keep going on and on and on about something, and people can move ahead as long as the big pieces of information are given to us in quick little bits. Then we can move with you as you're talking. But many of us actually wait too long.
Oh, right. Oh, well, Teresa says, thank you so much for the help. It's terrific. Ravana says, thank you. And Alicia says, what do you think of this one? Who knows anyone who is a tech startup founder who is looking to build out their team?
Okay, that's okay. So that's a little bit convoluted, although
Yeah,
it's a
that's
good,
what I
yeah.
thought.
So
Yeah.
I think we need fewer words. Who knows a tech startup founder who is
Yeah.
yeah. Who knows a tech? So yeah, it's a little convoluted.
Yeah.
So just a little too many words there. So fewer words is better.
Yeah, and because I love your elevator speech, Ronnie, because you can provide so much information for every single professional, small business owner, or whoever it is that you're working with, but you keep it so simple, and and you always have, and so I think I know Terry Shinners and I both think that you provide the best model for creating an introduction. I absolutely think it's the best.
Oh,
So
thank you, Becky. I appreciate it. I have noticed that people have really good luck with it. It is super simple, but it works with most people's attention span, and it also works with most networking environments. So simple is often better. Although
right, right.
simple can be very hard.
It is. I think it is. And I've watched people that have worked with you, gone to the networking for newbies, and they get a lot of great information when they start out. They do it great, and then they go back into their old habits
Yes.
because they want to keep adding more and more and more. And I've
Yes.
noticed that.
You know
Yeah.
what? It sort of reminds me of people who go on diets.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So at first it's really easy, and then later they just keep adding and adding and adding. So they gain that weight back.
Thanks a lot, Ronnie. You know my
What?
secret.
I'm not talking about you, Becky.
Oh,
So Becky, how much time do we have?
we have about 8 minutes.
Okay, well, you know what I was wondering? I totally forgot about this, but I wanted to tell you a story if I could.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Love to have it.
All right, so gosh, I just apologize for forgetting this. Years ago, when I was at the Women Entrepreneurs Organization, this gal came, and I was um, a table captain, which meant I was seated at a table for 8, and my job was to make sure that everybody felt very comfortable. And some gal came to this meeting for the first time, and we didn't know her, so I was making sure that everybody at the table introduced themselves, and I asked her who she was and what she did. And she said that she was a consultant. And I said, okay, well, thinking I'd probably ask her the wrong question. I'm like, well, what do you do for your clients? And she said, well, whatever they want. And I thought, okay, I've just asked her 2 questions and I've got nothing. And I asked her, so why do your clients hire you? I guess that's what I'm getting at. And she said, they hire me because I am the best. So 3 questions in, and I have gotten non-specific answers, had absolutely no idea what this gal did or anything. And I also noticed I had the attention of everybody at the table at this point. They were watching us like a ping pong game, back and forth and back and forth. And what I didn't know at the time is I had just entered the most vicious game of 20 questions I've ever participated in my life. So at this point, she's thinking it's sort of a game. And I kept asking her questions about her business and what she did. And she kept dodging. So I couldn't really tell. And I was getting quite frustrated. And finally, I said, look, if I put $100 on the table right now, what would you do for me? And she said, not much. So I was really frustrated, as you can imagine. This was like 18 questions in. And I said, I give. You are the winner of this contest. But quite frankly, everyone at this table really wants to know, what do you do and how does it affect us? Why are you here? Tell us, please. Don't make us ask you any more questions is really what I wanted to say. I said, please tell us. And she opened her mouth, and I swear to you, Becky, the first thing out of her mouth was, it's hard to explain. And I thought, well, duh, obviously. I've just asked you 18 questions and you haven't been able to tell me. And then I thought, is it hard to explain because you think I'm an idiot and don't understand things? Or is it because you um, have absolutely zero clarity about your own business? And frankly, side note here, Becky, that's the problem. If anyone ever tells you that what they do is hard to explain, it's because they haven't figured it out themselves. So
Oh,
anyway,
absolutely. Right.
right. So back to this story. So she started talking after the preamble. Well, it's hard to explain, and then she said, "What you have to understand about me." And I thought, I don't need to understand anything about you to know what you do. All you have to do is tell me. But she didn't, at least not for about 7 or 8 minutes, when she finally stopped talking, and every eye at the table was totally glazed over in complete boredom. And as it turns out, she was a painter, and she did faux paint finishes and murals for either commercial or residential properties. And how tough is that to say?
For some people, apparently, it's very hard.
Exactly, and I was really excited about it. I mean, I would have been excited because I wanted to do a faux painting finish in my dining room. I wanted to do something that looked like Italian plaster, but it was really, really expensive to do real Italian plaster, so I thought I could get a faux finish.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But so did I hire this woman?
No.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's not because, well, I'll tell you, it isn't because she wasn't a good painter, because later I was able to see some of her work, and she really was an excellent painter. But the problem was her lack of ability to be clear and to have a reasonable conversation with me at a business networking meeting made me wonder if she was going to give me a good price estimate. Would she make mistakes on that? Would she show up on time? Would she be, was she proficient enough at her business that she would be able to produce the work that I expected in the manner and within the time frame that she promised? I didn't have any confidence in her at all after this situation. And I got to tell you, Becky, it was at that point that I became very serious about learning how to introduce myself at a networking meeting, because I realized I had a terrible impression of this woman who was perfectly nice and actually very talented, but her complete lack of ability to describe what she did, or even to explain it or respond to a question coherently, gave me such a bad impression of her that I wouldn't have worked with her on a bet. Other people around the table thought the same thing. And quite frankly, we don't know what sort of impression we leave unless other people give us feedback, and the best feedback we get is referrals. And if people refer to us, I think we can be confident we're doing the right thing. But too many people out there aren't getting referrals, and I believe it's because they're doing such a poor job introducing themselves or talking about their business that people just don't have the confidence to refer to them.
Or they still haven't figured out what it is they do.
Yeah,
I've seen that. It's sad, but I have seen that so too often.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is learn how to introduce yourself beautifully, like an absolute rock star, so that when someone asks, if she would have just said, when I say, what do you do, if she would have just said, I paint faux finishes and murals in commercial and residential properties, I would have said, really? What kind? And how much does it cost? And do you want to come over to my house and give me a quote? Instead of wasting 20 minutes on a pointless conversation that probably left her miserable and certainly bored the socks off everybody else at the table.
Right. Well, before we end, can I ask you a question? Because I know you have different programs.
Yes.
We have a lot of people here on the webinar today that are not in Portland and Vancouver, and if they go to your website, they download these tools and they keep practicing, and they're still not happy with what they're coming up with. They're still not getting referrals, which means that they're probably not doing a good job of explaining in clear language. Can you work with? Is there a way for you to work with people, or do you ever offer specials, or?
Absolutely, I do, Becky. And as a matter of fact, as you know, I work with people all over the country, and even some people outside of the country who are small business owners and work with me and my group here at the DIY Marketing Center. So there's a little bit of information right here. I'm just sharing my Join Now page on my website, as you can see right here, and it gives the overview of the type of services that I offer.
Oh, okay, okay.
So I would recommend that this is a great place to start. And then also keep an eye peeled on the public events to see what's happening there, because that's where I post all of my public programs.
Oh, very good. So, yeah, so all those are open to the public. Well,
Yes, they are.
For everybody. Oh, good, good.
Well, thank you for asking, Becky.
Well, good. And I know you have a real busy schedule. We're right at 3 o'clock right now, and so we do have to end it. Or did you have a couple minutes left, Ronnie, in case, because I know people have been asking questions. So.
Okay. Well, I can take another question or two.
Oh, okay, okay. Because Cindy said she was wondering how this sounds. Who here wants to relax? Great, because I help people de-stress and relieve pain. I'm Cindy Moore, a certified reflexologist.
Okay. So de-stress and relieve pain is different from relaxing.
Oh, that's so true, yeah.
And so some of us want to relax, and for us, relaxing might mean listening to jazz music or reading a book. If you're doing some reflexology, is that like a foot thing?
I think so.
Okay.
But I don't know Cindy, so yeah,
okay.
I'm not sure.
So, well, what I might ask is I might say, who here, whose feet hurt?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I might start, because that would be pretty much everybody I know.
Absolutely, especially the women with their shoes.
And then I might say something like, did you know that there are more nerve endings in your feet than blah, blah, blah? Well, that's right. Then I do a elevator speech and then introduce myself. I'm Cindy, reflexologist.
Oh, very good. Very good. Well, Cindy, I hope that helped. Remember to go to Ronnie's website, DIY Marketing Center, and it's the public events. So it's /public events, and you can go and look and find these tools that will help you with all this.
Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'll go there right now so we can see. Yeah, right down here at the bottom, we've got the killer elevator speech tool. That might be very helpful.
Yeah. And then the networking introduction.
Mm-hmm. Networking introduction. Right below it.
Very good. Very good. Well, very nice. Well, good. Well, we are going to end it for the day. I thank you, Ronnie, so much for being on the webinar with us today, and I love working with you. You're just so much fun, and I love your stories. I love everything that you do. I want to thank everybody for being here, and we're glad you're here. If you are in an area where I Take Lead is at, please go practice it. You know, find out from your team how you're doing. If your referrals go up, you'll know that you're on the right track. If they don't go up, then you know you need to keep working at it, in my opinion.
You're absolutely right, Becky.
So anyway, thanks everybody, and we look. Oh, next week I believe we have Patty Keating who will be speaking, and she's a business coach. So the information will be coming out. So bye, Ronnie. Thank you.
Bye, Becky. Thanks so much.